Today I've got a good one for you folks. I'm going to be answering your questions about trademarks, LLCs, contracts, and if you've got some weird comments about my channel, I might be addressing those too. Hey, my name is Jim. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, I am a trademark lawyer and founder of the Hart Law Firm. Today we're going to be taking your most common questions. I'm actually going to be going right down the list of questions that people have and comments that people have on my channel. I get a lot of comments on a daily and weekly basis, way more comments than I can ever respond to, so I thought I would take about 10 or 15 minutes today to just go through and respond to some of those comments and answer your questions. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So the first question is from Hob, and he asked, I have zero assets to protect, and if I get sued, I'm going to have negative assets for many years. I don't agree with your reasoning and recommendation. Hob is writing in response to my LLC Not So Fast video. Hob, number one, I don't think that's really correct because nobody's going to sue you if you don't have any assets. No lawyer is going to spend the time or money or effort to sue somebody who's what we consider judgment proof because you don't have any assets. And also, number two, Hob, that video that I did, it was, I don't remember how long ago I did it. It was several years ago, but I've since done an updated video where I talk about why my reasoning in that video was slightly faulty, so you can go ahead and check out that new video I did and maybe you'll agree with it more. All right, Steve Henry writes, I would love to start an LLC, but I just launched my affiliate marketing website and maybe several months before I start seeing any money from this website, let alone a good amount of money. I don't have the money right away to start an LLC. Can I get by for a few months till I start making my money? Till I start making any money without the LLC. If the website does make a decent amount of money, thank you for the excellent information on your channel. Steve, that's a great question, and yes, I would say if you are strapped for cash right now, my recommendation is always to get that LLC started as soon as you possibly can. But if money is tight and you're trying to figure out if your business is viable before you really move forward with an LLC, that is a possibility. It's not something I recommend, but it is something that you definitely can do. You can start off as what we call a sole proprietor, and then once the business is making some money, you can switch over to an LLC. Colette writes, I currently have an EIN number as a sole proprietorship and recently incorporated my business as an LLC. Do I need to create a new EIN number or file a form with the IRS letting them know of the change? That is a great question, Colette, and yes, you do. So when you switch from a sole proprietorship to an LLC, you have to obtain a new EIN number for the LLC. You're also going to need to set up new bank accounts for the LLC as well. So that's a great question. All right, Sven asks, perhaps I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but what is the difference between a sole proprietorship and a single member LLC? Great question, Sven. A sole proprietorship is the default business entity if you're just starting a business on your own and you decide not to file it with any state agency. A single member LLC is an LLC that you're going to form by filing articles of organization or whatever the name is in your state with your state Secretary of State. You're going to pay a fee for that, and then that's going to create a legal entity that you are going to be the single member of. With an LLC, you own membership interests. With a corporation, you own stock and you're a shareholder. So that's the difference between a single member LLC and a sole proprietorship. Middlehead writes, what's your opinion on I-bonds? I think that if you have a long time horizon, now just to be clear, an I-bond is an inflation protected bond. They're issued by the US government. And if you have a long time horizon, so these I-bonds typically mature in 30 years or so. If you have that long of a time horizon, my recommendation would be you probably should be investing in stocks or some other investment as opposed to something that's only going to pay, the amount of inflation each year. I think that you probably would be better off putting your money in stocks or a broad stock market index to catch market growth. I know things are going to be scary for the next year or two probably, but in the long run, I think the market will outperform I-bonds most of the time. George writes, I want an LLC only because of the tax write-offs, don't need business protection. I want to buy a house, pay bills, etc., but I have an LLC to do all that. All right, number one, you don't need an LLC for tax write-offs. Number two, it's not clear to me if you're buying rental property. If you're buying rental property, then you probably would want to have an LLC for that. But if you're just buying a house for yourself and you want to pay all your bills and run it as a business with an LLC, you can't write off your personal expenses just because you have an LLC through the LLC. That's not the way it works. But the other thing is that you should know, George, is that you can still write off all your things from your business. You still get all the tax benefits of the LLC. With the exception of you're not able to file an S corporation if you're a sole proprietor, but you get all the other tax benefits. You can still write things off as a sole proprietor. You just do it on Schedule C of your 1040. All right, Rebecca writes, I formed an LLC and I'm completely lost. I have my EIN, but I've been taking many forms of payment, cash, check, online banking services, etc. with my personal account, which wasn't in use since I was a stay-at-home mom. I know I need to get a business bank account, but will I get in trouble and what can I do about that? Thank you. That's a great question. You really need to, Rebecca, set up a business bank account. If you have that EIN number, just set up a business bank account and transfer all of those, the funds that you have in your personal account into that business account. Now, I will say, if you had this bank account that you weren't using for personal expenses and it was only for business expenses, I don't think you're gonna get in trouble. You'll probably be okay. Talk to an accountant to make sure. And when you do your books at the end of the year, you're just gonna keep track of all those expenses, and you can track it as maybe a shareholder loan or something like that to make sure that you can track those back into the business, and you might need some paperwork to do that as well. Again, I would talk to an accountant or a tax professional to help you make sure you do that the correct way. But no, I don't think you're gonna get in trouble, but just go ahead and get your business bank account set up and then start running your business through that business bank account, and then you're golden, you're good to go. I need some coffee. That was full. That was a full cup of coffee right there. Let's get on to the next question, shall we? Christopher asks, is there any paperwork that needs to be filled out every month with the LLCs? No, not every month, but most LLCs have an annual reporting requirement, so you're gonna wanna check with your state to make sure that you're not missing annual reporting deadlines. Oh, this is a fun one. If you have to turn to YouTube to try and make money as a lawyer, you probably aren't a great lawyer. Thanks, Ty, for sharing your wisdom about my skills as a lawyer. I appreciate that. Shonda writes, do you recommend trademarking my biz name now or just go ahead and registering as an LLC for now? Thanks. I think that registering your name with a federal trademark is one of the most important things that you can do as a business owner. You want to make sure you lock that name down. You want to make sure you protect that name from other people trying to take it from you. And so registering that trademark is one of the most important things that you can do in that process. I will get that done as quickly as possible. If money is tight and you just want to move forward with the LLC, that's one thing you can do, but just understand that by filing an LLC, you are not protecting the name to your business. It's just, the LLC is just giving you a legal entity to run the business through. You definitely want to make sure that you file for federal trademark protection if you are looking to secure your name. I had to take a quick break. The battery died on the camera, so we're back at it. And I have a quick question from BJ Boy. Can you trademark a logo and name on the same filing document, or is it one or the other to be protected? Yes, you can only trademark one trademark. That doesn't make any sense. You can only register one trademark per trademark application. So if you want to do a logo, you put that on one application. If you want to do a name or a word mark, you do that on a separate application. We typically recommend that our clients do the word mark first because you get more broad protection with that. However, if your logo is merely a design and it doesn't have any word elements in it, then you might want to do it at the same time. The next question is from Fresh Squeezed Lightning. She says, or he says, all right, they say that my question and dilemma for the last 10 years is how to find out if my name is viable before I attempt to trademark it. I don't want to waste my time. I understand Googling is one way to get an idea and searching the USPTO, but there are so many technicalities that I don't really know what a good rule of thumb is to be fairly confident it's a safe name or logo to actually go trademark my name with. Well, let me tell you, number one, if for 10 years, you really need to get moving, because right now what I'm sensing you're doing here, Fresh Squeezed Lightning, is you're using this as an excuse to not move your business forward. If you really want to move forward with your business, I suggest reaching out to a lawyer. I actually recently brought on a new client just a couple weeks ago, and she told me that one of the main reasons she hired me was because she was suffering from just this inability to do anything because she was so overwhelmed by the legal process. And one of the very first things that we do if you were to hire my firm for a trademark is we do a trademark search. Now, every day that goes by that you don't actually file for trademark protection after you've cleared your name through that search, the search is worth less and less to you, because anyone can step in at any point and file a trademark, and they can take the name that you chose. So since the trademark system is a first to file system, every single day that goes by, every year that goes by, and in the last 10 years, it's amazing how many trademarks have been filed. Any names that you were thinking about using have, potentially been registered by somebody else. So if you have a name that you really want to use and you really want to move forward on that, then I would recommend doing that search. And if you are not confident in doing that search yourself, which many people are not, then hiring a lawyer to do that. I'll leave a link down in the description below to talk to my law firm if that's something you would like to do. And this, I'm going to do kind of a bonus question here. This is a question from Fabiola and Tween. I apologize if I am butchering your name, Fabiola, but she asks, how long do you plan on staying in Portugal? You guys have had a rough go on that, rough go of it. This is in response to my video from last week where I talked about my goals for 2022 and how the only goal I really hit for the year was moving our family to Portugal. But then since we've gotten to Portugal, things have just been very, very difficult. I think it's important to understand that yes, it might appear that we have had a rough go of it since we've been here, but in general, we are very happy here. We are getting into the culture. We are learning the language. We are learning how to do things on a day-to-day basis. It is a process. It's not going to happen overnight. Obviously, moving to a new country where you don't speak the language is overwhelming, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong and that probably will go wrong, and as I am a testament to. So, but I think it's important to keep the goal in mind, the big picture in mind, which was we wanted to expose our kids to something new and something different than America. And I would say thus far we have done that. And so in terms of how long do you plan on staying in Portugal? I don't know. It could be a year, could be 2 years, could be 10 years. We don't know at this point. We are happy with what we're doing. And for right now, we are here and enjoying the moment. We have a 3-year lease on our apartment, and so we can get out of it after a year if we chose to. But for right now, we are doing just fine, and things are going well. So I don't know the answer to that question. I've done other videos like this. If this is something you enjoy, please comment below and let me know. Here's another video that I did right over here where I answered some other viewer questions. And that's all I got for you this week. Thanks so much, folks, and I will talk to you soon.